Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 33, episode 33 of the podcast. Full disclosure, this is the first time we're recording back on Zoom in a while. The last one was episode 30, episode 31, right after the Brewer game. Drew's basement, beautiful time recording there live, first time ever. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Last week, I didn't have a voice. I was coming down with a little bit of a cold, and I had to announce on Saturday, announce some hockey, 3 games. Voice was completely shot. Sunday, I was supposed to announce 4 games. I couldn't do it. I had to stay home. I felt really bad. I never call him to work sick. I never don't show up. But how am I supposed to do play-by-play without a voice? So I couldn't. And if you're new, my name is Jordon Lawrenz. This is Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew, episode 33, and I'm joined alongside the one and only Drew Skyberg. Drew, we've been very, 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 very busy lately. Approaching a year, approaching episode 50, slowly but surely getting there. But how are you doing? It's a lot to keep up with, but we're doing our best.
Yeah, I'm doing well, Jordan. It's been a while since we've had you on, like you said, but thankfully we've had some great guests like Robert Shimmick, Clay Taylor, and then also Kyle Tuma coming on. So it's great to have people come on, really fill in, with you being busy, with me being busy. So, always one of us are on the sports crew, of course, but we've just had some great guests fill in during the time.
Oh, and we got a ton of big specials planned coming up too. We've got more stuff, fantasy football coming up, more EWC, Brewers season recap. So if you were expecting a Brewers season recap here in this episode, we are not doing our Brewers season recap. We're going to save that for a very special episode, hopefully coming out this Friday on the 29th of October. That is our tentative plan as of right now, but something comes up and we can't get it. We will have it'll probably be an hour-long Brewers season recap.
Yep.
We have so much to talk about. And then Andy Haynes being fired was the most recent bit of news. So we'll talk about there as well. Yeah, yay. I'll talk about that. Not the biggest fan, but kind of had to be done. So socials. We've got everything going. Facebook is up and running once again. Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew. Instagram, Jordan Drew _sports crew, our hunt for 300 followers. We are getting there slowly but surely. YouTube, Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew. And also, this podcast might not be this one, but maybe the next one might set us up for 2,000 listens. So hopefully this week we hit 2,000. This isn't counting YouTube views. We're at like 700 something on YouTube. So, combine the two, we're over 2,000 already, but still.
We're there,
2,
Jordan. We're there.
Are we really?
I did check. We are actually there. So, if you always want to thank everyone, we hit the 2,000 mark.
I can't believe it. It feels like just yesterday I was posting in a group about 1,000, but 2,000 already. And can't thank you guys enough. Drew thanked you last week. You guys got the shout out of the week. Hoodies. The last thing I guess I want to promote real quick. This is the last week to put an order in for our sweatshirts. Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew, we're going with a white, a black, and a navy. So 3 different color options. I was very, very worried that we wouldn't have like an even distribution and things would go south and some would cost more than others and it would be a mess of us trying to push people to get a different color, but things are working out perfect. All 3 colors are coming. Drew, are you getting 1? You getting 2? You getting 3? I'm getting 2 of them.
Right now, I'm stuck. I only want to get the black.
Understandable.
I'm not a big navy person.
No?
No, and just the white sweatshirts, they never turn out well for me. I'm a messy person. It just never works.
I liked our white shirts, though, because it was something different. I don't have a whole lot of white shirts. Like you said, they're kind of dangerous, but that's the best we could do for shirts. But now that we have an option, I'm going black and navy. We're going to get them both and see how they turn out. And then we're working on something else to potentially come out as well. So we'll keep that one on the low for now. But got a lot of stuff coming up. Shout out of the week. I've got one and Drew has one. So as our little welcome back for us both being on the podcast, we got 2 of them this week. My shout out of the week goes to Robbie Michael, the Kohler Sheboygan Luther Christian quarterback. My goodness, state record for passing touchdowns in the entire state all time. This man set the record with 93, and he can add a few more to that list. We'll talk about their upcoming matchup on Friday, but 93 career passing touchdowns. Let's just talk about his numbers and how impressive this is. In his freshman campaign, he played in 7 games. He was 25 of 59, so not throwing a whole lot, but just threw 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So not the best ratio. Had a 33 passer rating. Passer rating in high school doesn't mean a whole lot. but still, just threw for 2 touchdowns. He threw for 93 so far. So that means he threw for 91 touchdowns in his past 3 seasons, 24 in his sophomore year with 13 interceptions, and the numbers just keep getting better. 21 in his junior year last year with 7 interceptions, and 36 this year, could potentially be more, with 6 interceptions. And a lot of these interceptions came late in the year. I mean, he was riding around 1 and 2 from the majority of his senior year. I mean, Drew, this dude is something else. 93 career passing touchdowns in high school and 35 career rushing touchdowns, only 2 fumbles, and I mean 32 interceptions, but still, this dude is insane.
Yeah, he's got conference player of the year all over him, Jordan. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's something else. We had him on the podcast, actually. If you have not listened to it, I'd go back to it. It's actually when he broke or tied the state record for most touchdowns in a game. It was myself and Robert Schmick. We sat down with him. So go back and listen to that if you have not. And Jordan, you want to hear my shout out of the week?
Oh, yes, please.
Here it is. So 2 guys named Matt Zinetz and Jim Nagy, they made an NFL scouting buzz report for some college players. And lo and behold, there is someone from Valor's on the list, an offensive tackle from Central Michigan, Luke Gedeke. He has made their NFL scouting buzz list. They project him possibly, if he gets invited to the Senior Bowl, they project him to go in the 3rd or the 4th round, possibly.
Whoa.
As an offensive lineman. And he always had NFL potential when he transferred to Central Michigan. But the concern always, he's had some injury issues. I mean, the last few years, he's been really banged up and has just some injury problems, but he's really overcome it this year. He's a senior now, I believe, and he's just, I think he's like a 5th-year senior, actually, is what he's classified as. But he should be entering the draft next year, and if everything goes right and goes well, he should be drafted. So that's pretty cool to have someone come out of Valdez High School as a football player and potentially will be an NFL offensive lineman.
I mean, if they're projecting him to go in the 3rd, I don't really see how he wouldn't be. It's just kind of how he can transition and do in the bigs. That's awesome. I mean, that's huge. And 5th-year senior, you said, we're recording Saturday night, late Saturday night. It might be Sunday by the time we're done recording, but there was a 6-year senior in the Badger game that they were talking about today. So, I mean, that was crazy to see, but we'll talk Badgers coming up, and we've got a lot of stats of the week to get to. Staying in the world of college football, Drew, I didn't watch any of this game, but did you see Illinois and Penn State went into 9 overtimes?
I was able to catch the last 5 overtimes. So
oh, good Lord.
This game, it was something else. Fun fact, I didn't realize that in college, when they do the overtimes, they basically just do like trade-offs of 2-point conversions, and then you like
That's
elect
after
to go
the 3rd overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not realize that was kind of the way they did it. So it was really fun for me to just watch the strategy between the 2 coaches. Just if you wanted to defer, or you wanted to and if you defer, you go 2nd or whatever, and then you go 1st. Yeah. It was just really fun to watch the fun plays they were drawing up there, because it was at the 3 or the 4 yard line was where you'd start.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. And of course, when they would make the 2-point conversion, the other team would. So you go to the next one, and then, they made it again. Are they going to make it? Oh, they did. And then they both missed it. And then finally we saw Illinois. They had him wide open, and all he had to do was just throw it. He almost missed him, but thankfully he caught him. He got him when he was open. Illinois got the upset against the Nittany Lions.
Well, I was going to say that at 9 overtimes and it only being 20-18, you'd think it'd be a little more high scoring than that. But hey, I mean, I can't. That's insane. First game ever to go 9 overtimes.
10-10 end of regulation. So there was 5 2-point conversions, 5 2-point, then 4. So it was 2018, right? Was the final?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was, oh my God, that game was wild. It was long, but it was fun.
Oh, did it start at 11?
It was that ABC game. It might have been. It might have.
Okay, yeah, and then it ended at 3:30, close to 4,
3 and some
which
change.
is insane. Yeah, that's, my goodness. Kudos to those announcers who stayed for the whole thing. But if you get a good game like that, why not? So let's go to some baseball. Actually, we got 2 more football ones, and then we'll go to some baseball. Dearness Johnson, the fantasy flex option that people were picking up left and right because both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were out with injuries. Baker Mayfield is out as well. I mean, my Browns, they're hurting right now. They've got a lot of players who are just out. That's really all I can say. But Dearness Johnson came into this game 146 rushing yards. He is the first Brown with 100 or more rushing yards in his first start since 1987. I actually picked up the Ernest in our pod league, so I'm very, very happy with that pickup. Sometimes it pays to be in last place, then you get the best waivers. So, and I am undefeated in the one league still, and the guy who I'm going against had the Ernest. So I was like, oh boy, it was kind of like, picking my battle. Like, which one do I want? Do I want him to succeed so I can win a pod league game, or do I want him to kind of do bad? But I have Derrick Henry, Cooper Kupp, Lamar Jackson. I think I'll be fine. Hopefully can still pull it out and be undefeated. Other football one. After the Packers beat the Bears over a week ago now at this point, Aaron Rodgers has defeated 8 different Bears quarterbacks. Drew, do you want to try and take a stab at any of these quarterbacks? There's 8 different ones that Aaron Rodgers defeated. No way you can get all 8, obviously.
My God. Well, Jay Cutler is an obvious. But let's go through Trubisky.
Yep.
And then Fields, he just beat, technically.
Obviously, yep. Okay, you're at 3.
Some
of these other ones are insane.
I mean, did Foles technically? No.
Nope, he did not count.
He technically does. Okay. I should be able to get more of these guys. Does Dalton count?
Nope.
No, because they were backups.
These are like some of the scrub names that when you hear, you'll be like,
Matt Barkley.
I remember
Matt Barkley.
Name.
Fun
yes,
fact. Yep.
He
was actually one of them. Okay. I'm at 4, I think.
Yep, that's 4.
Name the other 4. I don't want to.
Mike Glennon. This is a fun one. Brian Hoyer. Josh McCown. I don't even know who that is. And Kyle Orton. I never even heard of those last 2.
I did pretty good. 4 out of 8.
Oh, yeah, not bad at all. Better than I expected, actually. So Aaron Rodgers, he owns the Chicago Bears, as we know. The Red Sox, first team in postseason history with 3 grand slams in a single series. We'll talk World Series coming up. Sadly, Red Sox couldn't get the job done, but man, their bats were flying. So that was good to see. They held on for a while, and then eventually Astros came through. Speaking of, Dusty Baker, 9th manager, Major League Baseball history to win an AL and NL pennant. So that is a beautiful job there. And the Dodgers became the first team in postseason history to have a player with a 3 home run game and a player with a 2 home run game. So absolutely unstoppable. Nothing you can do there. Psych, the Atlanta Braves are going to the World Series. Braves and Astros, we will preview it coming up, and that'll be our deciding factor in the Brewers Prediction Challenge. The date today, October 25th, 2021. Let's go back to 1905. On this day, the first college football Crab Bowl Classic. Navy beats Maryland 17-0 in Annapolis. Navy almost beat number 2 Cincinnati. So shout out to Garrett Holson, goes to Navy. He was texting me the whole way through thinking that Navy could get the upset. Sadly, they didn't, but still, that would have been huge if Navy upset the number 2 seed. On this day, 1953, Otto Graham, a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, sets a club record. This is Graham Mertz style with 4 fumbles. So Otto Graham will forever go down in the history book with 4 fumbles, a Browns record. Now, this is a very odd one. However, it was fitting with what we just saw this past Saturday with that Illinois and Penn State game. On this day, 1968, the longest Olympic field hockey game. The Netherlands beat Spain 1-0 in 6 overtimes. I mean, this is like watching a baseball game that goes 19 innings and it's 0-0. Can you imagine watching over 2 hours and 25 minutes of field hockey tied 0-0 until the 6th overtime?
That would be an interesting experience. I don't know if I'd want to experience that, Jordan. I'll be honest.
I don't think so. I watched a little field hockey when they had them in the Olympics this past summer, but it's just not like you watch it once and then you're kind of like, all right, I've seen enough. Like, you don't even need to watch a full game. So on this day in 1975, the Denver Nuggets held their first game at the McNichols Sports Arena. They beat the St. Louis Spirits. That is a very odd team, but the Nuggets defeated them. 12 years later, on this day in 1987, the Minnesota Twins win their first World Series, beating the Cardinals in 7 games. So that was the 84th World Series. A little boxing before we move on. Here on this day in 1990, Evander Holyfield knocks out Buster Douglas in 3 rounds for the heavyweight championship. Buster Douglas a little past his prime at this point. And finally, 12 years ago on this day in 1909, the Yankees beat the Angels 4-2 in the American League Championship Series. Anything to wrap things up for on this day? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, the 2009, American League Championship Series, Jordan. I mean, we saw Yankees finally get the job done after they had that dreadful 9-year stretch of not winning a World Series. So
I didn't mind.
Yeah, and now they have to deal with not winning one since. So
good.
It's good for baseball, you know.
It is very good for baseball. It's like when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl every year, over and over and over. So, and the Angels made me think of Shohei Ohtani. Soon enough, he'll be getting that World Series eventually. I believe in it. But that's all we got. So, before our weekly sports talk segment, we did it last week as well. Got to put it in here. Stamps.com. Thank you guys for sponsoring the podcast. Let's go to that ad right now. Since 1998, Stamps.com has been an indispensable tool for nearly 1 million businesses. Stamps.com brings the services of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS shipping right to your computer. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle on Etsy, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. All you need is a computer and standard printer. That's it. No special supplies or equipment, and within minutes, you're up and running, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. You'll get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. No traffic, no lines. Cut the confusion out of shipping with Stamps.com's new Rate Advisor tool. You can compare shipping rates and timeliness to easily find the best option. Save money and time with Stamps.com. Guys, there's no risk, and with our promo code POD, you'll get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in POD. One more time, our promo code is POD at Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again, thanks to Stamps.com. Beautiful job there, Jordon Lawrenz, on that live read. Drew, I have to admit, though, when I read it the first time, and it said the promo code of POD, I was very confused and I didn't know what that meant. And then I realized it was short for podcast. So that was my blonde moment
goodness.
there.
I'm the blonde one.
You are, but that was my moment. I read it 3 times because, like, the first time I did it, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. But then I wanted to do it a second time just to see. Second time, botched it. Redid it a third time. And I was like, all right, this is a good one. And then I was just thinking about POD. I'm like, what does that stand for? And finally, I figured it out. So go to Stamps.com, use our promo code. Thank you guys for sponsoring the podcast, and we'll see what sponsor we get next week. So it'll be a fun little surprise there. Maybe we'll have Stamps again. Maybe we'll have someone new. We got a lot to talk about here this week. Whew. I mean, where do you even start is the question. Let's start in the world of the National Basketball Association. It's back, baby. You and Clay previewed the NBA season last week. Clay did great in trivia. It's like, but good job, Clay. Thanks for filling in, by the way. Bucks beat the Nets, banner night, ring night, 127-104. But then a disastrous loss to the Miami Heat, 137-95. Wasn't even close at the half. I don't know what happened there. And then a 10-point win over the Spurs, 121-111. So first thoughts, Drew, through the season so far. I mean, Giannis, he's still working on finding his touch from 3. Sure, he did some good stuff at preseason, but he's still not quite there yet. I think from what I've seen, Grayson Allen hasn't been doing too bad, but will certainly benefit from Dante DiVincenzo finally being back. Drew Holiday's been all right so far. Middleton's been decent. Pat Connaughton's been doing fine as well.
Yeah, one thing I want to highlight, I mean, we talked about it in the other episode. Giannis's jumper looks great. I mean, I took him in my Dynasty League, first overall for a reason. The dude's an absolute stud. He leads the Bucks right now. Points, rebounds, assists, and player efficiency rating, like the usual, of course. So nothing you could be upset about there. I mean, they're 3 games into the year. They actually just picked up their second win Saturday night against the Spurs. So good job for the Bucks there. But I really like seeing these rookies get some nice play time. We've seen Jordan Nwora play. We saw him play against the Nets opening night. We even saw a guy like Sandro Mamukelashvili. He's been getting some great minutes for the Bucks right now as well. So I really like seeing these rookies and these second-year guys really making an impact for this team on the bench right now. I mean, with DiVincenzo out, there's been some other guys who have been game time decisions and whatnot. So it's been good to see the depth come in. And yeah, I think Grayson Allen's been a great addition so far. I'm really glad they even extended him 2-year, $20 million. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. He looks good right now. I mean, he fits with the Bucks and he's been playing really well. I mean, he's able to roll as a dunker sometimes. I mean, he's not rolling off a screen, but he's cutting to the basket, waiting for the ball to get a dunk. He's been splashing some threes. He's he's been a solid offensive player for this team, and he worked his butt off on the defensive end as well. So I like this Bucks team this year. I mean, I liked them last year too. I like the Bucks.
Oh yeah, and it was just a fluke right away with that Heat loss. So I mean, whatever. It's still very early in the season. We are not going to be doing a Bucks prediction challenge like we did for Brewers. It's really not the same. But preview the week a little bit real quick. October 25th tonight. It's 6 o'clock. They head to Indiana, play the Pacers, and then 2 days later on Wednesday host the Timberwolves. Then they play the Spurs again next Saturday on the 30th at the Pfizer Forum, and then they host the Jazz on the 31st. So obviously the Jazz will be a tough test. They get the Spurs again, shouldn't be too bad. Pacers and Timberwolves, kind of easy dubs there, I would say.
Yeah, I like this week for the Bucks. I mean, the Jazz, that's going to be a tough test because they're a great regular season team as we saw, but I like the Bucks this week, 2-1. Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, probably maybe have 4 wins in a row coming into that Jazz game, and then it's still regular season. Does matter, but in the long run, it's really just all about your playoffs and how you show up there. So anything else for Bucks, or are we going to Badgers now?
Yeah, we want to keep it brief with the Bucks this week. So let's talk about the Badgers' big win on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's for the Bucks real quick, just to tie things up. It's still so early in the season. We don't have a whole lot of stats to go off of. There's not like any common themes we can talk about or pick on or anything like that. But I'm trying to follow the NBA a little more this season. I mean, I saw Steph Curry had a huge night the other day. He had 25 points in the first quarter. Jaylen Brown put on a show for the Celtics as well. They lost in double overtime to the Knicks on their opening day. I got to figure out the Celtics team. I barely know any of the people on it. I mean, besides Smart, Tatum, and Brown, it's like, woof, I got to figure this team out. So, and they got Al Horford back. So that's that. But as for the Badgers, 30-13 win over a number 25 team. They beat a ranked team. Sure, they were the lowest possible ranked team, but they beat them, and that's all that mattered. 13-13 at halftime. Then it was all Badgers in the second half, which we usually don't see at all. It's usually the opposite, but the Badgers put up 10 points in the fourth quarter, don't allow any second half points. Graham Mertz threw the ball 8 times in this game. So I understand what they're doing, right? You got Ches Maluzzi, you got Braylon Allen. Boom. That's your 1-2 combo. Just feed them, let them go for it. They both had over 140 yards, 3 combined touchdowns between the two. Braylon Allen averaged 11.7 yards per carry. He had a huge 70-yard run. Badgers at like their own 5-yard line. Allen, he's a big boy from Fond du Lac, but he sprinted through that hole, 70 yards, 12 carries, 140 yards for him, 27 carries, 149 yards for Maluzzi. Maluzzi got banged up a little bit during the game, but thankfully he was all right. I just have to say, though, Graham Mertz only threw the ball 8 times. How is he ever going to get better and improve if all we're doing is running the ball?
Well, Jordan, if you want to win the football game, you can't have Graham Mertz throw the football. So my thing is,
throw it once. He did not throw the ball 1 time in the second half.
That's why and look at the second half. Just put up 17, and that's solely why you can't have Graham Mertz throw the ball in a big game. That's why this Badger team, they're such a liability when they play an opponent who can figure out how to stop the run, because when you stop the run out with this Wisconsin Badger team, you stop the Badger offense. And when you're able to do that, you're really able to just make their defense work, which their defense is incredible. Chanel and Sanborn, they played phenomenal today Chanel had 3.5 sacks, he had 8 tackles, and then Sanborn, of course, played big as well. Like, those guys should be All-Americans at the linebacker position. Just their linebacker core is just phenomenal, and they were really able to stop this Penn State offense. I mean, it was negative 13 rushing yards, and then also O'Connell threw four interceptions, their main quarterback. They throw Plummer in there once in a while, which we saw
they
today.
had a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, they run an interesting offense there at Purdue, but big Badger win. Like you touched on Maluzzi and Allen, they both played really well. I think this was Maluzzi's best game of the season. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
I would, have to agree.
Yeah, and I really liked what I saw from the Badgers today, but still my concern is when you play an opponent who can figure out how to stop the run, you're gonna beat Graham Mertz, because he likes to fumble. I mean, he likes to turn the ball over, is how I'd put it.
There were so many turnovers in the game on the Saturday. It was great. I think they had 5 coming into the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter combined. Like, it was a sloppy game at parts. And now this coming up this Saturday, 11 o'clock, probably on Fox. Badgers and Iowa. And now I have to say, I'm not nearly as concerned about this Iowa game as I once was. Looking at Iowa, they had a bye this past week, so the Iowa did not play. Iowa's coming off a 24-7 loss to, you guessed it, Purdue. So Iowa lost by 17 points to a Purdue team that Wisconsin just beat. Penn State, they just lost in 9 overtimes to unranked Illinois. Iowa only beat Penn State by 3 points. I mean, Iowa, they've beaten a team, basically 3 500 teams, and then 2 teams who are barely just over it. Iowa really hasn't played a whole lot of great teams. Sure, Iowa's a great football team themselves. You really can't say anything bad about them. However, just looking at Iowa's past 2 performances, they had a whole 2 weeks to prepare for Wisconsin. Now, obviously, they'll be coming ready, but I'm not as concerned as I once was when we basically wrote off Wisconsin 3 weeks ago.
I'm concerned about next week, and it's nothing against how Wisconsin played today. I mean, I'd say I'm less concerned than last week, but I'm still pretty concerned. I can't trust Graham Mertz in the big game. I can't trust him in the big game. And next week, it's a big game. I mean, this week was a big game, but again, it was number 25 Purdue. And I mean, even Vegas actually had Wisconsin favored to win this game, even though the scenario and what happened last week, like Wisconsin was still favored to win this game. We can't act like this was this big upset. I mean, they're 3.5 point favorites coming in. So I think next week is going to be it's going to be a tough test, not going to lie. And I'm worried about how this Wisconsin team fares against the Hawkeyes. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I think Graham Mertz is going to have to throw the football. So whatever that means.
Love my boy Graham Mertz, but we just don't have a whole lot of faith in him throwing the ball. And the game's at home too. So I mean, that could change things a little bit. I just had to look over my shoulder and see it is at home. So you never know. You never know what can happen at Camp Randall, soon to be Barry Alvarez Field. Any other Badger comments? Are we moving to volleyball?
Let's go to volleyball here.
Ooh, this is exciting. Last year, the Ships made it all the way to the state finals, came up short, second place, but this year they're primed to make another run. 2 seed, Manitowoc Lincoln, just demolished Oshkosh North. This game wasn't even close. 25-3 in the first set. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's insane. 25-10 in the second and 25-9 in the third. So Oshkosh North, not even a problem. This past Saturday, 2 days ago, sweep over West Bend West. A clean 25-17 sweep all around. All 3 sets were 25-17. So talk about consistency. And now, coming up this Thursday, October 28th, the Ships head to Hartford Union, where they play number 3 Watertown. So it's number 2 against number 3. Fond du Lac, the 4 seed, lost to Hartford Union. So it's Oconomowoc and Hartford Union at the top of the bracket. At the bottom of the bracket is Lincoln and Watertown. Watertown's coming off a 5-set win, but it was very, very close. They lost the first set 25-11. Wasn't close there. They won sets 2 and 3, 25-21, 25-23. Very, very close. Then they lost 25-21 in set 4. And then they won the 5th and final set 16-14. So it doesn't get any closer than that. Nina did all they could to defeat Watertown. Ships are going to play them coming up this Thursday. And then it would be interesting if they play Oconomowoc in the sectional final, because years ago would have been, I think it was my senior year. The Ships and Oconomowoc played in the sectional final and they lost. They lost in 4 sets. They won the first and then got reverse swept. So we were hyped. They win the first set. We think we're going to state, and boom, they just get reverse swept. So a huge rematch possibly incoming on Saturday between Ships and Oconomowoc. But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in the Ships team. They lost quite a few people from last year in that state run, but I can't complain with what they're doing so far. And Drew, any comments on the Ships, or are you moving on to your volleyball little bracket side to discuss?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. But Jordan, I remember you were at that game because I was working at the Dairy Queen. You had to take off. I remember.
I had to take off. Someone had to take my shift.
Yep. And hopefully Lincoln makes it again. We'd love to have the Lincoln volleyball team on to talk about their season. I mean, they had a great spring season. You did that emergency episode when they made it to state. We all remember that. That was early back in the days of Jordan and Drew, the sports.
Oh, yeah, that was like way early on. I mean, their coach, Mary Beth Dixon, lives like I can walk in less than a minute, 30 seconds from my house. I can just go over, microphone in my hand, have a little talk with her.
That sounds like a great idea. But I got the Division III WIA state tournament for the volleyball teams, the 3 and 4 sectional. Yeah, we're not D2 anymore for Valders, so we got bumped down to D3. So,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, you play smaller schools. So Valders got the 4th seed. We saw them beat. I'll just run through these. They beat Mishcot in 4 sets. They beat Sheboygan Area Lutheran in 4 sets, and then they run into number 1 Howard's Grove. And
Brett Damero, baby.
We know Howard's Grove. We had Brett Damero on, and he actually reached out to me before this game. He's like, hey, we're playing Valders tonight. Maybe you get a live pod in at the game. And I'm like, well, Brett, I really wish I could, but I'm down in Milwaukee, so I was able to catch some of the live streams. So that was great to see, but not great to see as a Valders fan, though. That's kind of
yeah, that's a little disappointing.
25-7, 25-19, a close second game, and then 25-9. So yeah, this Howard's Grove team, they're not messing around. They know they got work to get done, and Brett really, I mean, he applauds his girls and his team he's got going there, and rightfully so. I mean, they mean strictly business. They've got some easy sweeps already so far this year. They're 6. They haven't lost a game yet. The most points they've allowed is 19 in the game. Haven't even allowed above 20 yet in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this Howard's Grove team, they're not messing around, and they will face Manitowoc Lutheran, the 2 seed, at Howard's Grove, and that will be a Thursday night, Thursday, October 28th. That game will be so, and that's at Howard's Grove. So Jordan, if you want to make a road trip with me, might have to go to Howard's Grove for a volleyball game to meet with Brett Damero after.
Well, let's go to their state. They're obviously going to make it. We'll go to state.
Hopefully, yeah. And Brett mentioned maybe we can have some of the team on and himself on if they make it to state or if they win at state, which we were like, of course, Brett, we would love that. So just that might happen. Not saying it will or not. Just
you think you give us some press credentials for the Rush Center?
Yeah, I hope he can. We got to reach out to him.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, but Howard's Grove, Manitowoc Lutheran for the 1 and 2, and at the top, I'll just briefly mention it. They'll either face whoever wins that will face the winner of Shoreland Lutheran or Kenosha Christian Life. So we got some smaller schools here, Jordan.
How about the 8 seed upsetting the 1? Kenosha St. Joseph Catholic Academy beats the Prairie School. What an upset.
It's playoffs. Anything can happen, Jordan. And that was something else there. Kenosha Christian Life playing in the 8 seed. Yeah, so Kenosha versus Kenosha. Kenosha wins, of course, Christian Life. And then Shoreland Lutheran beat Living Word Lutheran to get to the sectional semifinals. So that's how that will round out at least that for like games of interest right now for volleyball for D3. So hopefully Howard's Grove, they do well. We wish them the best. I mean, Valders, hats off to them. They made it to the regional final. It was a great year for them. They tied for the share and to win conference with, I believe, Two Rivers. So great year for Valders. Nope, can't hang your head for that. So now, I mean, we're into winter sports for Valders. Other than the cross-country team, Jordan, I got to briefly mention it. I'm sorry.
Please.
We weren't able to include it at the start. Valders cross-country, they are in D3 this year. They're absolutely dominating D3 because they got moved down from D2 to D3. Competition, not so great compared to D2. So they were at the sectional today. Manitowoc Lutheran hosted it, so it was actually in Manitowoc. So what happened was basically Valders boys, they were heavily favored, of course, because, I mean, their top 2 guys were the 1 and 2 seed, Shane Griepachaw, Clay Taylor, minutes, 60 seconds plus ahead of the next person from the other team, basically, from other schools. So
not even close.
They were heavily favored. They easily won the sectional to make it to state. And then also the Valders girls this year at D3, they took second at sectional today. So we'll see them at state as well. So Valders girls and Valders boys cross country, both teams making it to state. What a successful year so far. Hopefully they can cap it up with some recognition at state, and I know they will. So hopefully next Saturday then it is at Wisconsin Rapids. It's always there. I actually made the trip out once there. It's beautiful. You got to go if you can. It's a lot of fun. And actually when I went last time it was snowing, so hopefully that doesn't happen.
Oh,
but
my goodness. No, thank you.
It's some fun supporting cross country. I mean, it's one of those sports we talk about. They don't get a lot of love. So hopefully we can have some cross country athletes on as well. We always love to talk to some runners. I mean, we talked to Spencer Strike. Johnny Tim even did some cross country as well. So we got those guys on before. Hopefully we can have more guys on. So that's kind of my high school talk. And now you want to go to football?
Yes, I just wanted to wrap up real quick for volleyball while you were talking. One of the most fun things in the world to do on these brackets is go to like the lower divisions. So like football goes to D7, but even for volleyball, Division 4, I'm looking at sectional 3. There is a team named Kickapoo. Kickapoo. I mean, like these are the most random teams. I have no clue where any of these are. There's one named Rio. Like that's obviously not Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I don't know where any of these places are, but it is if you're ever bored one day, trust me, just find like old volleyball, old football brackets and look up old team names. It'll make you laugh. It'll be a fun time. And other thing, Division 3, I noticed, like we were talking about that Howard's Grove game is at Howard's Grove. It's not like that in D1. I mean, D1's playing at neutral sites. Like I said, Ship's playing at Hartford Union when they play Watertown. So I just noticed that kind of stood out as well. I like the neutral site though. It's like, it's a big fight feel when all of a sudden the two dueling student sections are going to a school they might have never been at before, and boom, there they are to show support for their team. I love it. And we can't wait to talk about some volleyball next week. Hopefully, all good things on episode 34. High school football time. And we got some baseball to round things off. So, well, then we got Packers too. After this, we'll be moving back up. Bayport defeats Manitowoc Lincoln 56-14. Sad way for the Ships to go out. They don't have a whole lot on here. I think Max Gator got the garbage time, as we call it, in the second half because he threw 5 passing attempts. So I don't know if they played Brett Prangy more of running back in the second half and had Gator as quarterback. He's only a sophomore, so he's got 2 more years. This is great playoff experience for him. I don't mind the call at all. Brett Prangy, 1 of 3, 22 yards, 15 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Got to give credit to the Kenton Beasley, a 92-yard kick return for a touchdown. So that's how the Ships scored their 14 points in the second quarter. I mean, it was so close. It was 21-14, basically going into the half. Then all of a sudden, Bayport poured it on. It was 35-14, then a 21-point third quarter. Bayport ends the Cinderella run of Manitowoc Lincoln before it could even begin, 56-14. So now Bayport plays Marquette University, the 6 seed, just upset the 3 seed. There's so many schools that they beat. It was Milwaukee Marshall, Carmen Northwestern, it must be, Milwaukee Juno, and Milwaukee Languages. I don't even know what's going on there, but Marquette got the job done. Marquette beat the Ships in my senior year as well when we ended up going to Marquette 35-7. I believe the Ships lost to them. So Bayport and Marquette is the matchup there, but we're going to talk obviously about our Eastern Wisconsin teams. Kiel loses. I'm just going right down the line of what I'm reading here. Kiel loses to Catholic Memorial 42-6. So Kiel, there aren't any stats on our Raiders, but Drew, as expected, they lose. And honestly, they didn't lose as bad as I expected.
Yeah, people were saying 60 plus, including Robert and myself. And there were some questions if they were even able to go. They were going to put points up throughout the game. So them putting up 6 is, I mean, nothing to hang your heads about here either. I mean, you're playing Catholic Memorial, number 1 school in D4. We talked about it. This Kiel team is not the same team they faced. They had even 2 years ago when they faced them in the championship. So this game was an easy prediction.
Absolutely. And same as this one, Lake Country Lutheran, 44-0 over New Holstein. This is terrible. If these are all the stats they have, Henry Schnell, 10 carries, -7 yards. Cody Obler, 5 carries, -4 yards. Tyler Gibber, 4 carries, -1 yard. Only player with positive rushing yards, Mason Buludin, 7 carries for 67 yards. So he must have broke free at one time. Henry Schnell, 1 of 4 passing, 2 yards with an interception. But Drew, we knew this one as well. New Holstein goes down pretty bad.
Yeah, Lake Country Lutheran, that team is incredible. They got going right there. So enough said about that.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. 33-0 over Chilton. I expected a little more, but how about this? Bennett Olson, 6 carries, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Galoff was second, as you would expect, 15 carries for 96 yards. Mitchell Kotarabik, 9 carries, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kotarabik, 2 for Olson. Mason Bedke only had to throw the ball 3 times, but one of those was an interception, so that's not a good look. I mean, if you're 1 of 3 for 6 yards, you're like, okay, whatever, that's fine, but you can't be throwing an interception on one of those 3 plays. I'm sure it was just a screen pass or something as well that didn't go right, but 33-0, Brilliant gets the job done. This is what we expected as well. Did you expect a little more? Did you expect Brilliant to pound the ball a little more? Only 4 touchdowns?
I said a 3 or 4 score game. This is kind of what I said. I mean, I kind of were in the ballpark I was predicting here.
Yeah, 33-0. I mean, still nothing wrong with that. I knew this was going to be a good game, even though Robert said Denmark would kind of wipe the floor with TR. I knew they would stay in it, as did you. I was very happy that you predicted. And 18-6, Denmark beats Rivers, so they kept it close. Klinker had to throw the ball 20 times, but only got 84 yards out of it, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Chase Mathias held to just 104 yards. So, I mean, this kid was breaking records left and right. Kind of disappointing to go out on 104 yards, but he's still got 2 more years left in him. I think this TR team will be fine.
Yeah, and I was really rooting for the Raiders here because, like you said, I thought this was going to be a close game. I thought TR could actually come out with a victory this game, and yeah, they kept it close. And yeah, nothing. They got 2 years left to chase Mathias, and that's all you need. So I mean, this Two Rivers team is going to be dangerous the next 2 years in the EWC for sure.
Yeah, that they are certainly going to be one of the top teams in it. And then a 7 touchdown performance from Robbie Michaels. KLC wins 59-0. This we knew exactly what was going to happen. As expected, 26 of 30, which is just incredible. 431 yards and 7 touchdowns. Robbie Michael only had to carry the ball 6 times, so they were focused on a pass-heavy attack. I'm assuming they were going for the record. Whew, and boy, did they get it. A perfect passer rating for Robbie Michael. And that's Stefani, 8 carries, 58 yards with a touchdown. Casey Verhagen, 14 receptions, 250 yards with 4 touchdowns. Gerdakis had 99 yards, so just shy of 100, but he, Hendricksy, and Heinen all had a receiving touchdown. My goodness, Drew. We already talked about Robbie Michael. He's something else, but this is what we expected here. And now KLC, they have the honor of hosting or heading to Denmark. Let's preview it a little bit. KLC, the 3 seed, heading to number 2 Denmark. I still stand my ground and say KLC gets the job done at Denmark.
I like KLC in this matchup as well. I think.
Yeah.
I think how TR played with an 18-6 victory. I don't know. I think this KLC team, if they're able to worry about how their defense fares, but I mean TR's defense only allowed 18 to them, so I like KLC in this 3 versus 2 matchup. So let's go KLC.
Yes, absolutely. And then going up, the 1-4, Kiel was the 8 seed in the same sectional as well, or in the same bracket of this sectional. So it's Catholic Memorial and Wrightstown playing at Catholic Memorial. I think we're likely to see a Catholic Memorial KLC showdown. That's going to be fantastic if we get it.
That will be, and that will be at Catholic Memorial, Jordan, and they play at Carroll University in Waukesha.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's pretty close to myself. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll make the trip, but
yeah, Friday, November 5th.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless you're busy that day, you never know what could happen. But all these games obviously happening this coming Friday on the 29th, 7 p.m. And then Brilliant, the other team we have to talk about, they play Wittenberg Burnhamwood, if I'm even pronouncing that right, on the road there. We talked about Brilliant, 33-0. Wittenberg won 54-12 over number 7 Tomahawk. So some fun teams there, but this is going to be a very tough test for Brilliant. I'm sure if we had Robert on, he would say Brilliant's going to win this game probably by 2 scores, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really know anything about Wittenberg Burnhamwood. I could do some research and get a little more back, but this is going to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to do some research here. They're 8-3 this year. They averaged 28.6 a game. And
not a whole lot.
Their 1 loss is to 7-0 Amherst, and that's Amherst we know is
that's the 1 seed in the same bracket, actually. So
football powerhouse. Yeah, so makes sense. And they beat Stratford this year. I mean, this is a pretty good Wittenberg.
That's not bad at all.
So hopefully, I mean, I'll be rooting for Brilliant. It's the EWC. We got to root for them. But it'll be tough. I'm gonna say I like Brilliant though, because we got to root for EWC. Go Brilliant.
Oh yeah, I mean I love rooting for the teams, but I just like being realistic as well. That Stratford team is the number 2 seed in the top of the bracket. They just beat Westby 34-6. So that is all we got for high school. Unless you have anything else.
Nope, that's all. Let's go EWC.
Yes, that is all we have to say. I'm sure we'll still be seeing KLC and possibly Brilliant both alive next week as well, which would be fantastic. Now, as we said earlier, we're recording Saturday night, but I'm just going to go out on a limb. And Packers, they beat Washington. Really wasn't even close. 31-10 win. Packers beat Washington. Cardinals demolished Houston. That wasn't even close either. I mean, that one was even worse. That one was a 42-3 win for the Cardinals. Huge win. But imagine if my predictions were right there. I just tossed those numbers out of nowhere. This Thursday, huge matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, Thursday night, prime time game. As of right now on our Saturday night, Cardinals are favored to win. The game is at Arizona. Packers likely 6-1 against a 7-0 Cardinals team. Man, are the Packers going to be the first team of the year to beat the Arizona Cardinals? I say yes.
Don't we have to say yes, Jordan?
Well, I mean, I feel like we have to, but we also have to be realistic.
Well, I really like what I've seen out of their pass rush, even their interior defense, and guys like Rashawn Gary as a pass rusher too, and like of course Kenny Clark. I mean, they look locked in. They look really good this year, and this defense. I mean, it was of course week 1. It was very tough, but I don't know. I like this defense. I know we have Jair on the IL for 2 more weeks, I think, or a week, or is he back?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, it just isn't.
Well, we should have Bakhtiari back for this game. I know you're talking about defense, but that's huge.
That's definitely going to be huge as well. But I'm worried, of course, about this defense. How are you going to stop Kyler Murray and that electric Cardinal offense? But I think this Packer team, I think they can. You got Aaron Rodgers, and he's a bad man, as we know. So I think if you got Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you have a chance to win any game, basically, is kind of how I look at it. And I mean, Kyler Murray, like we've said, right now, he's probably the MVP favorite right now. So
possibly. I mean, hard to argue. 6-0 Cardinals team. For
sure, a game of the year candidate, just right looking at it right now. I mean, it certainly has the makings that could be one.
And obviously, it depends if the Packers were to lose. It depends how they look in a loss, but I'm not writing this Packer teams out if they do lose to the Cardinals. I'm sure this will be a close game coming down to the wire. Maybe we see some Aaron Rodgers magic once again at prime time, as we saw in that 49ers game. Cardinals picked up Zach Ertz, though, in a trade with the Eagles, so that's interesting. They had Max Williams, one of their real good tight ends, go out. He's out for the rest of the year. So now they have Ertz, which is a great pickup. We saw him explode the other Thursday night in a primetime game for the Eagles. Chase Edmonds is still kind of iffy as a running back. He was taken over. Obviously, we know they lost Kenyon Drake. He's a Raider now. Edmonds, for this Cardinals team, he's been kind of banged up a little bit, hasn't been doing too well. James Conner taking most of those goal line ones, getting a lot of the points. I think it's a good 1-2 punch, but I like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon a little bit more than them. And then it comes down to the receiving core, but it also comes down to Kyler Murray. And as we know, it's just, how do you stop the guy, right? Are you going to sell out thinking that they're going to hand it off? Are you going to think that he's going to run the ball? Are they going to throw the ball? There's a lot of questions, a lot of variables, and I don't think either of these teams will be on a negative on just short rest because they both had pretty easy weeks. But Packers, Cardinals, it's going to be a good game this Thursday night, and if you don't have anything else to say, it's time to preview the World Series.
Let's go to the World Series preview then.
I mean, so Braves beat the Brewers, as we all know. Very, very sad, but they did it, and I can say now, I am much more happy with them losing to the Braves now that the Braves are in the World Series, right? If you lose to a team that ends up either winning it all or coming very close to winning it all, I have no problem in you losing to them. The Braves just beat the Dodgers 4-2, and they won 4-2 in this final game 6. Your thoughts on this Braves team, and then we'll talk about the Astros.
Yeah, this Braves team coming into the year, I mean, I don't know what I thought, but just looking at how it turned out with Ronald Acuna with that torn ACL, I mean, everyone wrote the Braves off, and what they did in that front office is really what stood out to me. They were able to they went out there and they just got as many outfielders as possible. They were like, and they got some relievers as well, like a guy like Richard Rodriguez, but what they did was remarkable. They picked up guys like Eddie Rosario, who's had a big postseason, Jock Peterson, big postseason, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall. Like, they picked up all these guys at the deadline, and it's really paid off. I mean, if they don't pick up those guys, Rosario's had a big NLCS, and we saw Jock have those big home runs against the Brewers in the NLDS. So
I'm very sick of them calling him Jocktober. That is very old.
So terrible. And did Eddie Rosario get the NLCS MVP, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, I didn't even look. I can do some research.
He did get the NLCS MVP, and rightfully so. I mean,
Yes, he did.
he had one of the greatest championship series in or one of the greatest series in Braves postseason history. So, and he came at the deadline from the Indians, so that was something else to see there. And I mean, he didn't do much in that NLDS, but
No,
I
really
mean,
not at all.
these guys just they got hot when they needed to, and we saw this with the 2019 Nationals. It's the same thing here where Brewers run into a team that is just hot and they lose, and that's what happened here. I mean, this Braves team, they beat the Brewers in 4, and then boom, they play the Dodgers, and this Dodgers team was they were heavily favored to win the pennant, and Braves won in 6. And I mean, I got to shout out guys like Max Fried as well. Pitched a phenomenal second half in postseason. Guy like Charlie Morton, and he's a big postseason pitcher as well. He showed up, of course. And they just got some big outings from other guys like Ian Anderson. This is a good Braves team, and I was shocked to see how many people wrote them off with Acuna going out. But I mean, it's baseball; it's only one player, but they were able to prove people wrong. They made the right moves at the deadline, and boom, we see them playing into October, late October now. So, Jordan, what do you think?
Well, yeah, that's one of the beauties about baseball, right? Is you don't need one guy. So this isn't like football. If Aaron Rodgers were to go out, our whole offense is thrown off. This isn't like the NBA. If Giannis were to go out and the Bucks, I mean, they would have severely ruined their chances of making it to the NBA Finals if Giannis would have been out for those games and the rest of the series and didn't get to play in the finals, obviously. But you can't look back on those things, right? This Braves team, boom, lost to Cunha. Oh, well, they remodeled well. You talked about all their big pickups they made. I mean, 3-2 win over Dodgers in game 1, one game 2, 5-4. Then they lost 6-2, won 9-2, lost 11-2. So those 2 games weren't really close, but then a 4-2 win in game 6. I'm liking this Braves team, but then this Astros team coming in against a very hot Red Sox. But wow, these games were high scoring. 5-4 over the Red Sox in game 1. Red Sox win game 2, 9-5. Win game 3, 12-3. Astros put up 9 in games 4 and 5, winning 9-2 and 9-1, and then winning 5-0. So I think we were at a point where people were kind of counting out this Astros team in the series, and boom, they just put up 9 runs, 5 runs. They're putting up runs as well. I think we're in for an exciting World Series. Whether people like the Astros or not, here they are.
Yeah, that Astros team, their offense is something else. I mean, both their rotation, they got guys like Luis Garcia. We'll see Framber Valdez. And they have a nice bullpen as well down in Houston. So I don't know what I think of this series so far. I'm trying to process who I think is going to win right now, but usually, I mean, Eddie Rosario's coming off a 14 of 25 series. I mean, he batted .560 against the Dodgers. Just want to point that out. I know we've mentioned him already, but
unreal.
Do we want to go out and make predictions? Because I think this is going to be a pretty good series.
I think it'll be a good series. I probably won't watch all the games. If I'm just bored sitting at home, I'll watch one if it's on, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it. So here's the thing, right? Our Brewers prediction challenge, we mutually agreed that if the Brewers lost, that our records, or not our records, but our predictions would be scratched. So you said Brewers in 4. I said Brewers in 5. I mean, I would have been correct because the Brewers would have had to win it in 5 games. But then you have the argument that you were correct because the series ended in 4 games, even though the Brewers didn't win. We're scratching that. So it's still a tie. I believe it's 12-12 or something like that. And it comes down to the World Series. So the World Series, Brewers aren't even in it, but this will decide who wins the Brewers Prediction Challenge for the year. I mean, fairy tale ending. You couldn't write up a better ending to this than what we have here. So Drew, like normal, you're going to pick, and it's going to be a coin toss from Siri once again. If you win the coin toss, you get to pick who wins, and I'm stuck with the other team. If you lose the coin toss, I pick who wins, and you're stuck with the other team. So I need a call, heads or tails?
Tails.
All right, here we go. Siri, flip a coin.
It's heads.
Boo.
Heads it is, and I will be picking the Atlanta Braves. I'm going Braves to win the World Series. Just for fun, I think it'll be in 6 games.
Awesome. I wanted Astros in 6, so you can have that.
Okay, wow, all right.
So
I guess that does it then. So Braves or Astros. It's going to be one of them deciding who wins the Brewers Predictions Challenge. How about that? I mean, I'm not against the Astros winning, but kind of my morals didn't want to pick them, and I'm picking the team that beat the Brewers.
That's always a good argument. That's why I can't be mad at you for picking that, because like in 2019 when the Nationals won, like it was like, okay, they beat the Brewers. Oh well. And then 2011, we saw the Cardinals win.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Brewers lose to the winner. So wouldn't shock me if the Braves won. It just because this Braves team, they just got hot when they needed to. And Astros, well, I think, I don't know. I like their offense, and they know how to put runs up on the board. So we'll see.
We will see indeed. Let's wrap it up with some trivia. We're back, baby. Finally, Jordan drew the sports screw. The wheel is here. I'm spinning it right now. There's 4 options on the wheel as it stands. We still have never landed on Drew's choice, and we didn't this time either. It is grab bag. And now grab bag this season is on defunct teams. So you'll be getting options for every single one because some of these are tough. But here we go. Defunct teams that are no longer with us, whether they changed names, moved locations. Are you ready?
Let's go.
This will be a fun one. Question 1. What year did the Seattle Supersonics close operations? You're a basketball guy, so I don't know if you'll know this off the top of your head somehow.
It's going to be like 2008, 2007, something like that.
2008 it is. I mean, you got it. Didn't even have to give the options. They were going to be 05, 06, or 08. And 2008 is indeed the correct answer. 1 of 1 start. Let's go. Next up. Talking about baseball. The Montreal Expos were in the MLB until what year? Would you like to guess just for fun?
2004.
Oh my God, you got it.
I'm good.
Nailed it.
Woo.
Oh my goodness. 2 for 2. Doesn't even need the options. True or false? This one might be a little tougher. True or false? The Memphis Grizzlies were originally the Vancouver Grizzlies.
True.
Yes. Do you know when they moved and changed to Memphis?
I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to say 1998.
Just a few years later, 2001.
Ah.
So close, though. Way better than I would have done. This next one, I don't think you're going to get it right, but I threw it in here because it's a lot of fun. The Atlanta Thrashers were an NHL team until what year? 1997, 2005, 2011.
I'm going to say 1997.
2011. So you were on it was the ladder.
2005 or okay.
Okay. Well, 3 of 4 so far. Last question is in the world of the NFL. The Milwaukee Badgers began playing in the NFL in 1922. How many seasons did they last? Did they last just 4 seasons? Did they last a solid 8 seasons? Or did they last a lengthy 13 seasons?
I'm going to say 4.
It is 4. They only lasted 4 years, and you nailed it. 4 of 5 on trivia.
Let's go.
I've never even heard of the Milwaukee Badgers. Have you?
Yeah. Going to the Hall of Fame has really helped me out.
Oh,
not going to lie.
I see that. Yeah, you got a little of an edge there. A 4 of 5. Listen to this. You're 25 of 35 in season 3 of trivia.
We're getting hot at the right time. That's what we're doing.
This is something else. So, left. We have MLB MVP winners and college bowl games 2021, 2022. So upcoming college bowl games. I'm glad we're saving that for later. But that'll put us at 45. So we'll have one more specialty. And then season 3 of trivia will be over. So basically 3 weeks left and you are hot so far. All you need is 6 more correct answers in 3 sessions. And you will have done better than seasons 1 and season 2.
We'll take it.
Not bad at all. That's all we got. It is officially 12:04 a.m. as we finish recording. This is beautiful. Our latest session ever, but maybe one of our best podcasts in a while. I think we nailed it. We had so many topics to discuss, so much to bring to you guys. Drew, what do we have coming up this week? What are our releases potentially, hopefully going to be?
Well, we might have someone coming on. We might be talking some Big East football. So the Big East Conference in Wisconsin, not the Big East for basketball,
not the
for college. Yeah, they don't have football. We might be talking, maybe Robert Schimmick. We might do a little special with him for level 2 of the playoffs. We'll wait and see. And then, the Brewers season recap might be coming this week as well. So we got a lot of good stuff planned this week, like we have in past weeks. Episode 4 of the College Athlete Spotlight will be coming out next Wednesday. We have a guest for that as well. We'll talk about that later. So, yeah.
Are you telling me we should quit this college thing right now and just do this full time if we're up having 4 episodes this week?
We might as well, Jordan. I'm
I'm down,
joking.
let's do
I'm
it.
joking.
We'll buy out a little place and we'll rent it out as a studio, and then we can have people come in. They can pay $10, and they can watch a live podcast, and we'll just do that. How's that sound?
Yeah. It'd be fun, but it wouldn't be financially smart.
Or in the long run, it would not benefit us
Yeah.
at all. So don't forget, guys, hoodies. Last week to get your hoodies, black, navy, white. Hit us up, Instagram, Snapchat, on all of them. We are there. Jordan Drew _ Sports Crew. Jordan Drew Jordan Drew the Sports Crew on Facebook. Jordan Drew the Sports Crew on YouTube. And that's all we got. Jordan Law _ PXP. I just announced Green Bay's volleyball game yesterday, breast cancer awareness game. Hopefully they got the win over IUPUI. And I might be announcing UWGB Girls Soccer Horizon League quarterfinal on Halloween this coming Sunday. Drew, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you know the drill. Instagram, Twitter, Drew Skyberg, DREWSKYBERG.
And that wraps up episode 33 of Jordan and Drew the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.